The Black Death was one of the deadliest pandemics in human history, wiping out nearly one-third of Europe's population in the 14th century. It is believed to have originated in Central Asia, traveling along trade routes to reach Europe around 1347. The disease was caused by the bacterium Yersinia pestis, which was carried by fleas living on rats. As trade increased, so did the movement of these infected rodents, spreading the disease at a terrifying pace. When the Black Death reached Europe, no one fully understood what was happening or how to stop it. Medical knowledge at that time was extremely limited. People believed that the plague was a punishment from God, a result of sin and moral corruption. Some thought the alignment of the planets or bad air was to blame. Without an understanding of germs or bacteria, they had no way to combat the disease effectively. The symptoms of the plague were brutal. People would develop large, painful swellings called buboes, often in the armpits or groin, followed by a fever, chills, and vomiting. In many cases, the infected person would die within a few days. The speed at which the disease struck was part of what made it so terrifying. Entire towns were decimated, and bodies piled up faster than they could be buried. The devastation caused by the Black Death was not limited to just human lives. Social and economic structures crumbled under the weight of the pandemic. With so many people dying, there were not enough workers to maintain farms, businesses, or services. This labor shortage led to a rise in wages for those who survived, giving peasants and lower-class citizens new bargaining power. This change in the labor force dynamics helped set the stage for the end of feudalism in Europe. The Church, once a central institution in European life, was also deeply affected. People turned to the Church for answers and protection, but as the death toll rose, many began to lose faith. Priests, monks, and nuns were not spared by the plague, and many clergy members fled their posts in fear. The inability of the Church to stop the suffering led to a significant decline in its influence. Another tragic aspect of the Black Death was the rise in scapegoating and violence against minority groups, especially Jewish communities. In times of crisis, people often look for someone to blame, and during the plague, false accusations spread that Jews were poisoning wells and causing the disease. This resulted in widespread persecution and mass killings, further deepening the horrors of the time. By the time the worst of the Black Death subsided in the early 1350s, Europe had been forever changed. Cities lay in ruins, populations were decimated, and the social order had been upended. While the Black Death was a catastrophe, it also played a role in transforming European society. The massive reduction in population created opportunities for survivors, and the shifts in labor, economics, and social structures helped pave the way for the Renaissance. The Black Death remains a stark reminder of the fragility of human life and how quickly societies can be transformed by forces beyond their control. Thanks for watching this 4-minute history video about the Black Death, and if you wish to see more, please subscribe.